Hey, it's freaking Fab. Huh? It's freaking Fab. What? It's freaking Fab. It's freaking Fab, breaking balls, takes me off the walls, talking all that shit that make you wanna get involved. Ain't no ball. Rick and Fab, no ball. Look, when you wanna talk ball, tell me who you call. I know it's Rick and Fab, got it all, ain't no ball. Look, Rick and Fab, no ball. Yeah.
Folks, how we doing this evening? It's Rick and Fab No Ball. It's episode 13. We're back. We're in the stew. And I'm going to level with you guys. This podcast is coming at you battered and bruised tonight. We're on our last legs. You know, this is what happens when you get to the midseason. These injuries start to pile up. Fatigue takes its toll on you. And that's really what's happening tonight. I unfortunately, in this studio, right as we're getting ready to record, my vape died, which is just the worst thing that can happen to a man. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Yeah, I'm going through it. And we got MereKat, who, as I understand, has a bit of a tummy ache tonight. Mere, you want to tell us about that?
Nothing's worse than a little tummy ache. And, you know, this is not the first time Chipotle has intentionally tried to poison me. I don't know what their agenda is. I don't know why I keep going back, but I swear this is the last time, guys. It's got to be. I am on my last legs.
Do we have to bring the band back? Should we get Tyler O'Day on the horn and ban Chipotle again?
We might need TOD to drop the ban hammer because
the only man
I'm ready to make it illegal. Like, ready to push this legislation through.
On a federal level, we're talking here. That's how bad this Chipotle's got you down?
That's how bad. We're chugging ginger ales. I'm using it as like a placebo, trying to make me think that it's actually good for you when you have a stomach ache, but really you're just chugging pop. So
I think it is.
It's supposed to. I mean, I think it is. So it works if I think so, right?
All right. Well, I'll be the first to say that I going forward will be boycotting Chipotle in your solidarity with MereKat.
I'm a Qdoba guy. I'm a Qdoba guy myself, anyway.
I do, yeah. Doba's good. There's one near where I work, and I go there. The only thing is the size. The portions are kind of smaller, but like it's also like, kind of in a beneficial way because you can like eat a burrito without it like exploding everywhere. You know what I mean? With Chipotle, it's like loaded up, and there's just no way to eat that in a non-messy way. Yeah. So
right. We also. I got a new background here for those of us tuning in on the tube. Spent about a solid 30 minutes here designing this nice logo. What do you guys think? How does it look?
I was trying to pull Rick up.
I was going to say, why?
It grabbed Fab. I don't know why. It looks good, though.
It looks dynamite.
And also, I got a quote of the week for us. I was hoping it would be legible here, but it's not. You can't see it on camera at all. But I think it's a good lesson for us to keep in mind here as we battle through our dead vapes and our tummy aches. That rhymed. No big deal.
That was a good one.
And it's just a reminder to our duty to humanity as podcasters and kind of the responsibility we bear towards the good of society. And that's that words can build bridges into unexplored regions. And we're wordsmiths here. We're spinning a tale. We're spinning a podcast for the people, giving them the ball knowledge that they need. And I think that's an important thing for especially me and Mere tonight to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that quote is coming to us courtesy of Adolf Hitler, a little known, where's he from? It's not Austrian.
Time person
little known Austrian artist, Time Person of the Year. So yeah, that's our quote for the day. And let's get into it. Hashtag blame KD. It appears our long national nightmare is finally over. We finally have our resolution to the Kevin Durant saga that has ruined our entire offseason. And it looks like it was the outcome we predicted and the most boring possible outcome. Kevin Durant is apparently staying with the Brooklyn Nets. They put out a statement today that they have a shared vision to move forward with their partnership. What do you guys think? Who bent the knee here? Who caved to who?
KD, unfortunately.
You think so?
I mean, It's hard to say. I kind of figured this was going to happen the entire time. Like he was just going to end up playing for the Nets. It's. I mean, we're going to talk about it later because one of our mailbag questions is relating to this. But I think it honestly comes down to the Rudy Gobert trade. I mean, how do you follow that trade up with an even better player? Like the package was just never going to be presented by another team. Like the what they wanted. Like you would have to be out of your goddamn mind to give them what they wanted, and it was just never going to happen.
So blame Danny Ainge, is what you're saying.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
The Celtics were close. Like it feels like a few times. They're just never really wanted to pull the trigger on adding that extra piece. Would you have been like really pissed, kind of mortgaging the team for KD? Now that he's staying, now that we can put the rumors to rest, Fab.
I definitely. If it was anything, like I've said, if it was anything more than Jalen, like if it was Jalen and Rob and Marcus, I think that would have been the dumbest thing we ever could have done. Because you're giving up so many impactful players for 2 years of KD, and it's like, if it was just Jalen, then I would have been sad at first, but ultimately thrilled. I think that would have given us a way better shot to win a championship over the next 2-3 years. But for, like I said, for what they wanted, it was just never going to happen. And the retiring stuff, like they knew KD was never going to retire. Like that was never in the realm of possibility. I'm very curious to see, like, not even like a full year from now, like maybe halfway through the season, like how many games KD and Kyrie have played. Like I have no idea how that's going to play out.
What I would be interested to know is, was this a case of Kevin Durant kind of looking at his options and realizing he could go to a team that would have to gut itself to acquire him in a trade? Or was it him in, the vice versa of that is, I think the Brooklyn Nets provide him the best and most talented roster to win now around him. You have Kyrie, you have maybe a healthy Ben Simmons, you got shooters and, Joe Harris and Seth Curry. So was it him realizing that Brooklyn was going to be the best spot for him? Or was it Joe Tsai and Sean Marks calling his bluff essentially and saying, you are under contract for 4 years. We haven't got a package. You want to sit out training camp? Fine. You want to retire? Fine. Who bent the knee? That's my question here. I lean that it's KD kind of weighing his options and realizing, what was on the table.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people likened it to the offseason with the Lakers in 2007 with Kobe. And we even saw, I don't know if you guys saw Kyrie post he just
Kobe
tweeted out
GIF.
a GIF. Yeah, the Kobe GIF today. So, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing. And yeah, it does make sense because people say what they want about Ben Simmons, but like having him like actually playing, which is obviously we can't assume that because you actually never know with Ben Simmons. But I think like you made a good point that he realized that he has like a pretty good chance to do something in Brooklyn. So yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely more KD bending the knee than anyone else. Which is not a great look. But I also am hesitant to believe all of the reports of KD demanding that everyone gets fired. Like I don't fully believe all the things that have been pinned on KD.
I don't know if I ever fully bought into that like it's you or me kind of deal with Kid and Josiah or KD. And I think it's KD bent the knee. I feel like he had his fun. I don't know if he's trolling or like he actually wanted out, but where's he gonna go that he's gonna be somewhere that's like a decent place like to play and you have a decent shot to win something, right. Without a team mortgaging their future. Gets to stay in Brooklyn, gets to, shout out all the guys on Twitter today who want to talk shit or get attention from KD.
And not even mortgaging the future, but also mortgaging the present to an extent if they have an asking price for guys like Jaylen Brown. And you just brought it up. A tale as old as time itself with Kevin Durant. We got at least an all-time Twitter day out of it. He had a little back and forth with Pat Bev. He went back and forth with some random commenters, as KD is prone to do. Pat Bev kind of called him out. He said, there are people whose jobs rely on this, whether it's, stadium workers, whether it's guys on the verge of a roster, guys on that bubble. Not only people whose jobs rely on this, but the forgotten crowd that Pat Bev forgot to mention, podcasters and fans like us who live off the NBA offseason. He grinded it to a halt. Selfish. So KD quote tweeted that and said #blame KD. A little back and forth ensued. One thing Kevin Durant's going to do, it's going to be posting. So he posted his way through it as he often does.
Yep. But then after KD quoted that with hashtag blame KD, and then Pat Bev was like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Like, I wasn't blaming you." He was like, "Bro, you just tweeted at him. Like, what are you talking
That was
about?"
literally complaining and blaming in that whole tweet. Like,
how many times do you think KD's been in that experience where somebody's talking shit about him and he replies and is like, calls him out, and then they're immediately like, "Oh no, I'm a fan, bro. It wasn't you. Thanks for replying."
Well, I like that Jordan Hicks guy too. It's just like, well, thank you at least for like bringing some light on my Twitter account.
Yeah.
He's like, these fucking grown ass men, what the fuck? But
just like us in our early days with the Jersey Jerry Army, it's any engagement is good engagement. Jordan Hicks knows.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Mir?
No, I was gonna say, isn't Jordan Hicks like a defensive tackle for the Eagles or something? That's what I thought it was. And then it's like a Spectrum News reporter with like 900 followers. I don't even think the dude broke 1,000 followers today, and he got in a Twitter beef with Jordan. I was calling Jordan Durant, Kevin Durant. So shout out to Jordan Hicks or whatever your name is.
If you think that's unfortunate, I saw a random weatherman in Kentucky going viral on Twitter for having the unfortunate name Andrew Tate.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
That happens.
Can you imagine you're just trying to report the weather in northern Kentucky and you got people commenting, "Oh, top G. Oh, you should be banned off everything," in your replies?
Yeah.
Brutal. Not a whole lot of guys I'd rather less share a name with right now than Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Well, what do we got next? Unless, Fab, you got something to say on Andrew Tate.
No. I don't even want to get into it. I was going to ask who he is, but I don't even want to talk about it.
No, that's a rabbit hole we don't need to go down on this podcast. You're better off not knowing, brother, and take my word for that.
Yeah, we'll cut that. We don't need that crowd coming in here right now. But next up, a huge news that we're all so excited to talk about. Massive news week. Baker Mayfield is the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers.
Woo!
Yeah. To quote Mike Francesca.
Yeah.
Francesca. Who cares?
Yeah. Who cares? Yeah.
Who cares? That was him.
I'm happy for him.
That was him like 15 minutes after Stan Lee died. He's like, "Oh, Stan Lee, comic guy. Who cares?"
Yeah, no, they're like, "Yeah, you hear about Stan Lee died?" He's like, "Who?" He's like, "The guy that wrote Spider-Man." Who cares? Fucking savage. Shout out Funhouse on Twitter. I know he doesn't post stop posting the clips because he got threatened with legal action, but those Francesca clips are incredible. What is also incredible, I think, is Baker getting a shot outside of Cleveland. I like Baker.
I
like Baker. Okay, I hated Baker. I wanted to hate him because, Josh Allen, rival in the draft, yada, yada. They had a bit of rivalry like the first few years in the league that has been, dispute. That's been someone's won that one the past couple of years, but Baker still got the raw end of the deal, especially like the last year and a half in Cleveland. He's just got shit on. He's been forced to play hurt, playing with a shitty team, shitty front office. I'm happy. Not saying Carolina is a much better situation, but it's not Cleveland, and we, know he's the starter going into the season. He has a pretty talented offense around him. I'm kind of rooting for the guy.
Yeah, Mir, I think you nailed it. Before this whole saga, I would say I was indifferent towards Baker, like wasn't really actively rooting for him or against him. And you nailed it. He got the raw end of the deal. I think this guy came in when Cleveland was in the pits. Wasn't he on that 1-15 team? Or one of the really bad teams? I know he had like 3 different coaches in his first 3 years. I know he came in when they were in turmoil. And from the jump, he embraced the city. He embraced the Cleveland mentality. He embraced being the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, brought them back to the playoffs in 2020, had a great year in 2020. And, he has one down year, and all of a sudden Browns fans forget where they came from, and they turn on him, and they go and hire a pervert and a sicko to do the job and pay him $250 million. Raw end of the deal is a great way to describe it because I feel like he got turned on so fast after coming in and openly embracing a community that never had a quarterback do that in decades.
Yeah.
And I feel like he deserved more of a leash, more leeway than what he got. And I'm rooting for him specifically to spite how the Browns did him.
Yeah. I could not possibly agree more. I was going to take have a different take on this, but what you guys both just said kind of swayed me. we've seen the reason I was kind of not going to believe in Baker is because, I mean, we've seen, obviously he's had a good rushing attack to help him out in Cleveland. Obviously McCaffrey's good, but this is a worse offensive line, similar weapons with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, who I like similar to Jarvis Landry and OBJ, who we could do nothing with. And another thing is I think Matt Rule is a moron. So I think that is not going to play in his favor. I think he's probably going to lose his job this year, but I think I feel like Baker will play the whole season as long as he's healthy, right? You guys can't see him getting benched, can you?
Right.
I think they move on from Darnold. They might cut him.
Yeah, because if Baker goes out there and throws 14 interceptions, you can't there's no realm where you play Sam Darnold. You can't put him out there. We
have
know
PJ Walker too back there. I know Corral is out for the season. That stinks, but they have a deep quarterback room.
I'm a big PJ Walker guy. Shout out the XFL. Shout out Bailey
Shout
Carlin.
out the Houston Roughnecks. Yeah.
But yeah, Fab, you nailed it. Matt Rule fucking sucks. I have no faith in him whatsoever. I have no faith in the offensive line. I like the weapons around him, but it kind of does suck because while we say we feel for Baker and he deserves another shot, this isn't the right situation for him. I think he's a quarterback that's not going to elevate you and carry you to win games, but you put him in a right situation and maybe he can cook a little bit for you. And this is not the right situation for him. I hope this isn't the last shot he gets and he flames out. But yeah, I also don't see him ever getting benched for Darnold. You look at the 2021 stats. Yeah, Baker wasn't great, but Darnold was a whole level worse.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really am rooting for him and hope he figures it out, but I don't think Carolina under Matt Rule is where he's going to do it.
Yeah, I feel like the Panthers organization in general is just it's not really built for many guys to go thrive.
Anytime you pay a running back, you're not a good organization in my eyes.
I agree.
Nope.
I could not agree
the Bills
more.
should draft one in the second or third round every single year.
But I am seeing the Panthers start off Browns. I really want them to beat the Browns. I'm going to be heavily rooting for Panthers week 1.
Let's make that a podcast pick. We all take Panthers money line week 1.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They'll be against Jacoby. Come on.
Yeah.
It'll be one of the 2 or 3 games they get a fully healthy McCaffrey on the field, so we love it.
Yeah.
Panthers money line, hammer it on the Barstool Sportsbook today.
Hammer it
What's next
right now, instantly.
Right now. Next up.
What's next? I'm fired up.
NFL preseason.
More NFL. Let's go.
Ball.
What do we got?
Football.
Whose team? Whose team we talking first?
Yeah, let's go. Rick, you go. You go.
Justin Fields got a full series. Looked great, despite the fact that he was running for his fucking life on every play, just like he was running for his fucking life on every play all of last season. The throws he made and the runs he made gave me a lot of hope, but goddamn, we did not address the offensive line. I've been screaming it off season. We didn't address the offensive line, and it is showing. And it's going to show in week 1. It's going to show in week 17. We're not helping our guy out. He looks great. He's got faster mechanics. He's got better footwork, but yeah, the lack of action in the offseason really showed itself in this preseason game. I'm trying to take it with a grain of salt because it is a preseason, but man, oh man, he was running for his life. So how is your guys' teams looking?
Well, I want to shout out the Bears for helping me cash a nice little ticket.
All right.
Oh, yeah, we should talk about that.
Hashtag fade captain.
Oh, that was nice. Nice little hit from the Bears. Shout out to the Peterman. Peterman can. Love to see him in Chicago. Hopefully he never has to play. Just
sidebar, if I ever see Nathan Peterman starting under center for the Chicago Bears, I think that's genuinely the point where I throw in the towel and I'm like, I can't root for a football team anymore. I think that would be my breaking point after 22 years on this earth of heartbreak. That's one thing I don't know if I could stand.
If Josh Allen didn't come to save me from what Nathan Peterman did to us that year, I don't know where I'd be right now.
I forgot Peterman literally was starting over Josh for a few games.
Yeah, and there was a point where we benched Tyrod too, where Tyrod was playing well for fucking Peterman, and that's the game where Tyrod was playing well in the beginning of the season, but they were looking for every excuse to bench him because people were hyping up Peterman. He looked good in camp. And Tyrod started slow the one game, and it's like, all right, Peterman comes in.
Dude, he's like Peterman's a guy that like we need in the league, but like just not on your team. Like you need him to be in the league so you can like observe him and like laugh and enjoy him. But as soon as he joins your team, it's like, oh fuck.
Well, the cool thing about that point, Fab, is he is on my team.
Right.
So before we get my blood pressure to an inhospitable level, let's move on and talk about MereKat's Bills. I saw Josh Allen get some PT. I saw one clip of him slinging a 50-yard touchdown, and my only reaction to that clip was it should be illegal to be that good at football. Like, he is just so fucking good. He came on for one series and just immediately reminded the whole world, oh, I'm an athletic fucking freak that can sling the ball 80 yards when I want to.
Did they put up a 50 burger?
He's nuts. What's up?
Did they put up a 50 burger? Or it was close?
No, it was 42-14. Yeah, we just ran
42.
the shit out of the ball.
In the preseason. Like, who does that? How? Like,
well, just like one series with the starters. That's all it was, too. Allen goes 3 of 3, 45 yards, and the just absolute bullet to Gabriel Davis then. So who made a great catch. And it's just like, all right. I was worried about Gabriel Davis coming into this gym. Like, yeah, everyone's really high on him because he just caught 4 touchdowns in a playoff game. The next series of football he plays, he catches a 35-yard touchdown. It's like, all right, I'm feeling pretty good about Gabriel Davis being our second receiver because Diggs does not need to seal the field in the preseason. He's a savvy vet. We know what he's going to do. Woo, buddy.
And what sucks is I can't even rail against Mere for being a fan of an elite team like I do against Fab. Because, like, if there's anybody that's due, it's the Buffalo Bills.
Where this is the year.
And
this is actually the year. The buzz in Buffalo is insane.
I was watching ESPN that a bunch of the talking heads had you ranked as the best defense in football. You combine that with Josh motherfucking Allen and Diggs, dude. Like, I'm excited to watch this team, and I'm excited for my good friend MereKat.
Thank you.
I'm as excited too. I'm as excited as I can possibly be for being in the same division as you. I did see what you guys have 3 top 50 players in the league just on defense alone, or was it 2? Was it just Poyer and Micah Hyde, or was there one more?
Poyer, Hyde, and then Miller was top 100. I think they still put Trey White in the top 100, even though he hasn't played in 8 months. Just level of respect because Trey White's a top 4 corner in the NFL. Yeah, it's just sick. I mean, we had the second best defense in the NFL last year, and then we keep Leslie Frazier despite, him having head coaching interviews. He stays. Fuck you, Dable. And we add Von Miller. We bring back guys who are amazing for us just like 2 years ago, and Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson. We lose almost no one. We draft a first-round corner, and actually the 5th-round corner we drafted, Christian Brentford out of Vanderbilt, is fucking eating. He might actually be our number 2 corner heading into the season. Brandon Beane is just a genius.
That's fucking absurd.
I don't have to worry about him leaving because he's bringing the Bills to like the pinnacle, and it's just like this is his team forever. What else are you gonna do? But like this dude should be the president of the United States.
It's such a strong name too.
Quick sidebar on Jordan Poyer, just a Hall of Fame wife.
Yeah,
Hall of Fame. Rachel Bush. God's
she's not too popular in Bills Mafia unless you're just into her for her looks.
Why is
crazy. That? she let's say, well, who's the guy who got banned from everything? Andrew Tate. She's very similar ideology to Andrew Tate in a lot of things, and then very outspoken. Like she's tweeting about how Poyer like shouldn't show up to camp because we haven't extended him yet, and he should be the highest paid safety in the league and shit like that. It's just like. She's started many problems before.
Brandon,
Rachel, I'm actually a day one Rachel Bush fan. You know how guys are like, oh, I was all in on this guy in the draft, and they turned into a good NFL player, and they're like, oh, I was right about him.
It was a Barstool Smoke Show like 10 years ago.
I was following Rachel Bush day one, and she married an NFL player. I was right about
her bag.
And she has like a little sister too that's also hot, that's closer to our age range.
Ooh.
I have her added on Snap. I've been trying to work up my way to shoot my shot for probably 8 years now. Like, not even exaggerating, since like middle school. But anyway, sidebar. How are the Pats looking, Fab?
The only thing I wanted to talk about with the Pats is again a name you're going to be hearing a lot in years to come. Lil Jordan Humphrey. I don't know if you guys remember him from college. I can't remember where he went, but I know
It
him
was
just from the
SEC,
name.
I believe.
Well, that's a name that sticks out, and that's a name I do remember hearing. So
yeah.
Lil Jordan Humphrey. He is the future of the Patriots. He made some nice plays on special teams. He had a bunch of catches. He's kind of just been doing everything, and those are the guys that Belichick just loves. So look out for Lil Jordan Humphrey. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of good things happening. It appears the Raiders just absolutely pissed on the Patriots today in their joint practice. Offense looks terrible. The offense couldn't move the ball against the Panthers backups. They did end up winning the game, but it was pretty horrid to watch. But yeah, Lil Jordan Humphrey, he's the future of the franchise. Him and Mac Jones is all I care about at this particular moment.
So
confirmed from Texas.
Texas, yes, that's what it was.
I'm a big believer in the name trait. I think if a guy has an elite name, depending on what position he's at, like that's a good predicator of success for me. Like Mac Jones, that's a strong quarterback name. Lil Jordan Humphrey, that's a strong position player name. Josh Allen, that's a strong quarterback name.
Cole Strange, strong lineman name.
Quarterbacks with two first names succeed.
Cole Strange gives me more of like a third down running back type guy.
It might
I
be.
don't know.
See,
I don't know if that's no line.
Strange is too fun, but Cole is like the ultimate D2 offensive lineman first name.
Yeah. Cole Strange is a guy that like you don't have to look at him and you know that he went to fucking Chattanooga. One more before I forget. I know I talked about Isaiah Likely. I don't know if you guys saw his stat line. He played 15 snaps, caught 8 balls, 100 yards, 1 touchdown. Guy is an absolute. You guys got to watch the highlights. What he does after the catch. He literally looks like he's like Kyle Pitts out there. He's so fucking fast, and he's going to be so good.
Yeah, he is.
Look to draft
so everyone's football team is in great shape except for mine. Par for the course. Let's move the fuck on.
Mine is not in great shape.
Bailey Zappi though.
Don't make me fucking rant about how you can't complain about anything, Fab. I'd like you have at least a 20-year statute of limitations until you can complain about anything related to the New England Patriots. I don't want to fucking hear it.
I'm definitely going to do a lot of complaining, but
I'm sure Mir is in lockfoot with me there. Lockstep.
It's about respect between the Bills and the Patriots.
Lockfoot really? Sounds like
Lockfoot.
It's about
offensive lineman.
It's about respect, at least with me and Fab.
Okay. Well, what's weird is you guys had no respect with them until like 2 years ago, and they had the respect for the 20 years previous to that. So maybe some recency bias of that respect being mutual.
No, I know. But hey, big bad boogeyman's out of town. He's out filming Mass Singer or whatever the fuck. So we don't got to worry about him anymore.
I kind of realized that once Tom left, I mean, there's definitely people that hate the Patriots, but like I feel like a lot of people hated Tom like more than anything. So now that he's not here,
worst thing about my entire life growing up.
Right.
Like actually, like the first like 15 years of my existence was Tom Brady shitting down my throat.
and I can somewhat relate to that because my whole life Aaron Rodgers has been my villain.
Yeah,
but I always had the playoffs where he would always choke in the playoffs and I would get to dance on his grave. Like Big Cat said, I would always have this. My Super Bowl was watching Aaron Rodgers lose in the playoffs. And he might be 2-0 against the Bears, but I could always look forward to that every year. Mir, the poor fucking guy, he has to go on and watch the guy win a Super Bowl every other year.
It was really fun.
Good times. Good times.
All right. So moving on from our team check-in, producer Mir, what do we got next on the old docket?
We're going into media, into cinema here.
First up, no screens.
Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal season 1 comes to a close.
Yeah,
dude, the way I know, Rick, you're not a Rick and Morty guy, even though you should be. Nathan Fielder is turning Rick and Morty in the terms of like Rick in that show. They just like travel from dimension to dimension. He's bringing that to like real life, just creating like his own like dimensions, and you literally can't even keep track of like what is happening in the show. It's
creating like different realities.
I'm trying to remember what happened in the finale, and I can't even like remember what happened other than what's her name leaving. Angela, right?
Angela leaves in the episode before the finale, I think.
Right.
And then the finale is pretty much just all about like Remy, and then like him after, like, you know, doing that scenario, playing. It's just so I don't even know what I just watched.
I just think it's fucking hilarious that for the entire span of the show, all of us on Twitter are debating, like, is this fucked up? Is this exploitative? Is what Fielder is doing to these people, is this like manipulative? Is this
should he
fucked
be in
up?
jail, or should we give him a Grammy? Like,
we spent weeks arguing, is this fucked up? And then the man himself, Nathan Fielder, comes out in the finale and is just like, yeah, this is insanely fucked up. I don't even know if I should be doing this.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what happened.
I tried to get my dad into the show. I showed him one of the episodes, and he like probably at least 5 times he just looked over at me. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And I'm like, you just gotta watch. You just gotta watch.
Going back to Nathan For You, I have never recommended Nathan Fielder to anyone because it's literally a coin toss. You either think he's the funniest guy of all time, or you're like, what the fuck are you showing me?
Yeah, my dad was not a fan, so it was he spent most of it watching, like looking over at me, and I would feel him looking at me. I'm like, yeah, he doesn't like
That's
this.
the worst. That's the worst.
I had a girl. I had some girl ask me, in humble brag, I talked to a girl.
This guy fucks.
But I was like, oh, she's like, I said something. I was like, I'm watching the rehearsal. She's like, what is that? I'm like, oh, Nathan Fielder. Never heard of him. I didn't know how to like introduce her to Nathan Fielder. I feel like the go-to is just the clip of, if I don't undo my handcuffs in time, like this robot will show my dick to these kids and this cop will arrest me. Like but that encapsulates who he is and how his brain works.
Yeah, it's definitely safer to recommend Nathan For You, and then if they like an episode of Nathan For You, be like, okay, this is your guy. Then you got to watch everything, and then you move over to the rehearsal. But you got to start with Nathan For You.
Just an all-time brain. Just, like, whatever is going on with his brain needs to be studied. It doesn't seem like a fun place to like live in. Like, I feel bad for the guy, but it's great content for me. So like, from the literal day this show was announced, like a year and a half ago, I was like, oh my God, you're giving this brain an HBO budget. This is going to be fucking out of this world. And he delivered. It was great entertainment. Dr. Farts, I would die for you.
Oh my God,
I know Dr. Fart. Can you take a seat?
Dude, that opening clip in that episode is so funny. So
but
funny.
I actually I guess the grandma of the kid, and it was like his mom was pretty young. Remy's mom was pretty young, so the grandma, I guess, also pretty young, in touch with social media. And she's been posting like, oh my gosh, like he was just going through a phase, like he's fine. He doesn't mention it anymore. We love the show. We thought it was great. So that gave me a little bit of comfort. Like, I'm watching the show and watching him like call Nathan daddy. I'm like, oh my God, did we fuck this kid up? Like, permanently? Like, are we gonna have the rehearsal season 20 where this Nathan's making this kid practice for therapy?
Yeah,
how bad he fucked up. But from everything I've seen after the fact from the family, like, it's a great kid and is doing fine nowadays. So that kind of gave me some comfort.
Yeah,
on enjoying the content.
What did you guys, or what was your favorite episode of the season? I think mine easily was the Fielder method. The one where the one with where he's teaching the class and
where he's in the jean jacket, like, yo, what is this class? And he's playing his classmate.
Dude, oh my God. And he starts when he's pretending to be the student, and he starts criticizing himself. Like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking. It's the dynamics are so fucking funny, dude.
So I'm gonna give a hot take here for favorite episode. I thought episode 1 was absolute perfection, and I don't know if was necessarily the biggest fan of him going away from separate rehearsals and going off on the whole season being this little family tangent and this little,
I agree,
him raising Angela. I thought episode 1, where it was just him rehearsing with Core at the Alligator Lounge, and it was, these days I curse the Chinese for inventing gunpowder. Like, that was just the perfection of the show.
That was a good one.
Not that I didn't enjoy the rest of the season, but I think I might have preferred it where we were doing a different rehearsal every week and not
one
just
of the best parts
fucking up children psychologically.
from that was how just anticlimactic it was too. Like, I think it was meant to be. Like, they do the whole thing for Cora, like get him ready to tell his trivia partner he doesn't have his masters, and she's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, what? That just like moves on. Like, I thought that was classic. But I think my favorite episode was probably 2 with Robin. He absolute stud, crashing his Scion TC at 100 miles per hour. He's been super active on Instagram talking about the show and stuff. And somebody asked, and he's like, how he was on the show is actually him. And he's like replying to questions. Somebody asked, did your roommate situation ever get fixed? And he goes, thankfully God had a good plan for me, and my roommate got murdered.
Wait, that was real?
Yeah. What? He's actually like applying to this shit, and like, oh my God, some of the comments and stuff he said is so funny. Like,
it's just
a wackadoo.
It's fascinating to me that people like Angela and that guy exist in the real world.
Completely
They have a vote in the next presidential election, and it's going to count just the same as yours. Just the same. Democracy, baby.
Dude, Angela is one of the most insane, like, complicated but also not complicated at all characters like I've ever seen. There's so many funny videos. I saw she's on Cameo now.
Oh God.
I wonder what that would be like.
She's on Cameo?
She's on Cameo, God. Yeah. I think she charges $100. I'm gonna look.
If you're at a point in your life where you're paying $100 for Angela from the rehearsal to give you whatever you need a cameo for, look in the mirror and reevaluate some things.
Please.
$75. Here's the first one that came up. Angela Sankovic.
Shout out to her.
Incredible.
Shout out to the kid who played the older Adam that was like in the whole last episode. That
You're a fucking disaster, my guy. No, I actually unironically, I got Timothée Chalamet vibes from that kid. Like, I actually think he's gonna go on to a very successful acting career. He fucking crushed it.
He was getting dropped off at Jewish school, picked up to go to real school, dropped back off at Jewish school, getting picked up. And the best part was fucking at the end when Nathan breaks the barrier. He's like, "All right, be honest. Like, do you think I'm like a good guy or like a good dad?" And the kid just goes, "You're a great scene partner."
I thought you were talking about
that kid's 8. Oh, I was talking about the 8-year-old one, not the adult.
Yeah, the older one who went the previous episode where Nathan's trying to get him to like study one of his friends with divorced parents, and he's listing off like all the drugs and alcohol that he needs to. Oh, dude,
a shockingly common theme of that show for me was like all the like small-time, part-time actors that he brought in, they all fucking crushed it. Like the fake Angela was amazing. All the iterations of Adam were amazing. The fake Trish the Dish, fucking fantastic.
The fake Nathan was fucking hilarious. I love it. Oh my
God, yeah.
So good.
All of them killed it, and all of them come out after the show and are like, oh, it was so great to work with him. Like, great experience. Hopefully they all get some exposure and roles from it. Like, tip of the cap to all the extras because they fucking murdered it.
I wonder, have you guys seen any like numbers of how the show like did? It had to have done.
It got renewed for season 2 from HBO, who is currently slashing everything and anything under the sun. So if you're getting renewed by Warner Brothers in their current climate, you're doing something right. So I'm glad we got Fielder another HBO budget.
It was so expensive too, just like building those sets, like the houses, moving them, hiring all the actors. I like the throwaway line in the last episode where he's like, "Yeah, we hired all extras that couldn't talk to save $15,000." Like, brother, you're probably $15 million over budget. What's that $15K gonna do? And it's just everybody actually not talking and shit. Like, oh my God.
There's 2 people I would love to go out to dinner with and just have an hour conversation with them. One, Nathan Fielder. Obviously, I would love to just figure out what's a bit and what's not and what the fuck's going on with this guy. And 2, I would love to go out with the HBO exec that had to get on the horn with him. And he's like, hey, I need to build a scale replica of a bar in Brooklyn. I need a budget increase. Can we get that done? Like, tip of the cap to HBO for just giving this guy seemingly unlimited money to live out his twisted fucking brain.
And I love it how he ends up using the bar and he makes like a long ass tunnel from the road to bring you all the way in, so it seems like it's right off the street. He is just fucking brilliant, man. It got 93% Rotten Tomatoes for what that's worth.
The 7% are people who just like don't get it, you know?
Yeah.
All right.
I love that weird brain.
Any more thoughts on the rehearsal? Okay.
Can't wait for season 2.
We're rolling right into another HBO segment. So HBO, the home box office, is that what the acronym is? Home box office?
That makes sense. I would have never thought of that.
Mirror, fact check it for me. This is what we pay you the big bucks for, brother.
HBO. What does HBO stand for? All right, we're almost there. We're getting there. HBO. That's not HBO.
I looked it up and nothing.
All right, you're fired. You're fired.
We got it. No, you were right. Let's go.
It took you too long to pull it up, though. So HBO, if you want to sponsor the pod, feel free. Until then, we have another sponsor tonight before we get into the next segment. And that's EA Sports. It's in the game. Another year, another successful Madden release. We here at EA Sports, we're committed to providing the ideal and most fun player experience possible. That's why we have made 0 changes to the game since 2012. Go buy Madden today. If you want to have the most infuriating gaming experience of your life, Madden 23 is the place to do it. You can go and bankrupt your parents' credit card on Ultimate Team. You could start a franchise and just encounter the buggiest, glitchiest gaming experience imaginable. You could try My Player, which is a big nothing burger. EA Sports. We might be in the game, but updates are not. So thank you to EA for sponsoring. Do you guys buy the new Madden?
No.
Like a fool.
Fuck
like a
no.
Fool.
You
bought
did?
it.
No.
I bought it because me and my friends do connected franchises, and we're
Right.
like, let's do it. Let's do a fantasy draft. We go to do the fantasy draft. Takes like an hour to get it going because it's so buggy. Every like 5 rounds, it would just reverse us. Like it'd be like, those last 8 picks you made the last hour. Yeah, no, fuck you. We had to draft like 15 different times. Then we go into the season. I start my game. Another guy starts his game. We're playing our games. The other 2 go to start their games. They get sent back into like the 12th round of the draft. The whole thing is just fucked. We can't even log into it now. So thank you, EA. Thank you for putting another great product.
$60 to do one of 4 different iterations of the gritty. I think that's the only thing they added. You can do. There's like a bunch of different ways to gritty. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you doing a fantasy draft? Don't you want a gritty? Come do the
Gritty on
gritty.
play now against the computer. Yeah. Just $60 for this shit.
So I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but in my heyday, I was like an extremely nice Madden player.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Mir, you brought up you were in connected franchises with your friends. When I was 13, I signed up for like a competitive Madden franchise. And since then, I like ran in the competitive scenes for like 7 or 8 years. I was playing against guys who like were placing in national tournaments, who like were ranked for Ultimate Team. I won a Super Bowl after like 4 years in the league, and it was like one of the greatest moments of my life. Like still to this day, if I hop on the sticks with any of my boys in Madden, like I'm whooping them by 5 touchdowns. Like I am an extremely, extremely nice Madden player.
So you're one of the guys that you definitely use her like the linebacker and then just pick everything off on defense.
No, I use her the safety. Like I pick everything up. Like if you don't use her the linebacker or the safety, I am shitting on you in Madden. And that's a recurring theme to this day. If you're using D-line, I'm putting up 800 yards on you.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
And it has gotten so bad that I haven't bought the game in 2 years. I don't plan on ever buying the game again. I don't plan on touching it. Like this is the only video game in my life I'm decent at, and they've turned me off so much. Like that's how bad this franchise has gotten.
Fuck them.
And we want to get our hopes up for NCAA football, but I know it's going to be a Madden 2.0 with college skins. I know they're going to put all the focus in Ultimate Team. I know Dynasty and the road to whatever thing is going to suck ass. So I refuse to get my hopes up for any EA production whatsoever.
Didn't they come out with something like this week or last, pretty much straight up saying that NCAA is just going to be like Madden engine or like same like mechanics and shit? It's like what is the point?
It's so dumb. They're trying to figure out a way to monetize it too. There's gonna be some sort of Ultimate Team shit. That's all Madden puts their money and time into anymore is Ultimate Team, because that's where they make money. Bring us back to the NCAA 06 days, where as you got better in the game and became pro and stuff, or became a better starter or whatever, your girlfriend got hotter. So we need mechanics like that back.
That is actually awesome.
And 2006 they're doing that shit, and nowadays we can't even extend a player's contract in franchise mode.
Yeah,
it's not even that the game hasn't progressed. The game literally progresses backwards to the point where they remove features that people love, and then they add them back in 3 years later and market it like it's a totally new feature.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally not even a even slope. It's a downward trajectory.
Going downwards.
Yeah.
Any other curses we want to wish on EA before we move on?
Nope.
All right.
I said my piece.
House of the Dragon.
Woo!
Folks, Game of Thrones is back. Westeros is back in our lives. That's sick. I think we're kind of just going to work through this episode chronologically, linearly. But I'll start with some opening thoughts. For me, the recurring theme of this episode was I watch it and I'm like, oh my fucking God, it's Thrones. We're back in Westeros. And then seconds after that, I'm like, oh, but none of this matters. They ruined it in the last season. I know it's 200 years in the past, but still there's a part of me that wants to yell at these Targaryens and be like, it's not going to fucking matter. Your great-great-granddaughter is going to just burn the whole city for no reason. And Bran's going to take the throne for no reason. I had a great time watching the episode. I thought the hype got a little too much on Twitter. I thought it was great. I thought it was great to be back in Westeros and have Thrones back in our lives, and most importantly, have everyone tuning in on a Sunday night and tweeting about it and all experiencing it at the same time. That's great. But when you strip that back, I thought it was just kind of a decent opener. And for me, I guess the psychological pain lingered deeper than I thought, where I'm still hurt by the last season of Game of Thrones and how they wrapped that up, as much as I want to be all back in. And we have an interesting perspective here. Fab, not having seen any Game of Thrones, watch this episode. What were your kind of opening thoughts on the episode before we work into it?
Wait, me?
Yeah. No, the other guy named Fab.
Well, I didn't watch the.
He didn't watch it. He was just going to
what?
ask us about it without watching it.
I thought our whole point here was you were going to watch it having not seen any Game of Thrones.
No. Oh, I was under the impression that I wasn't going to watch it and I was going to try to follow along and ask questions.
That was my impression.
What? Hand up, that's on me for expecting Fab to watch anything whatsoever other than the same two TV shows. So, fuck you, move on. Mir, what did you think?
I do have a thought, though, because my dad just started watching Game of Thrones. And every single time I go downstairs and he's watching, there's a sex scene. Every single time.
A lot of fucking. Yeah. And it's not a coin toss chance that it's incest that's fucking. So,
nice. Okay.
A lot of fucking. But, see, Rick, I'm kind of on the opposite of you. I haven't rewatched the last season of Thrones since it happened pretty much. I mean, I watched last episode twice, but since then, absolutely nothing. I've been so disgusted by it, all of that. And I didn't even hate it that much as other people. I still just so disappointed I haven't been able to go back. This gave me hope. I felt good. I almost forgave them for that final season for putting this out, because I expected the show to start very slow like Game of Thrones did, and we did not get that. There was a lot of shit going on in this first episode. Very good episode. I like pretty much all the actors so far that they've cast. It was so cool. Every time they show the Iron Throne or something, it's just Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV screen meme. He's oh, I know that. Right. They say when Viserys says Song of Ice and Fire, you're like, yeah, he said it. He said it in the first episode. So I'm just very excited for it. I think it was set up great, and I think just from the first episode, it looks like everything is gonna be good moving forward with this show. There's a lot of cool storylines to follow.
You kind of keep up with the lore, right? All the names of these people and all that. That's where I struggle is the names. But for me, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I would rather the show distance itself from Thrones because I don't want to be reminded of it in the slightest. But let's we're going to work through this episode chronologically. I got some notes here, Fab. You can chime in with questions as you want while me and Mir kind of talk through it, and Mir tells me all the names of these people because to this day I don't fucking know. But so we start off, we get some narration to start off. We get some title credits. We get some, for the first time in the Game of Thrones universe, some explanation as to who the fuck these people all are, which I really appreciate.
I took a note for it. Yeah, I love it.
I noted it as well. Like I hope they keep that up, and I hope they kind of try to keep us engaged and keep explaining that stuff. While I am a fan of explaining stuff visually, like there's so many fucking people in this universe, we do have to know what's going on. So I was a fan of that.
Yeah.
You too, Mir?
Yeah. It was nice to get the quick little recap there.
And after that, we get to Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Princess.
Yeah.
That's one of the. I think that's the only name I remember. She's riding a dragon over King's Landing. We got the Targaryen theme blasting through our speakers. Dun, 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 dun. The dragon theme. I love that. But that was the first case where I was like, oh my God, this is sick. Oh my God, Daenerys did the same thing with the same music and she burned the whole city and none of it fucking mattered. But I thought that was a cool scene and a cool opener to just immediately throw us into dragons and the Targaryens and lean into it. What'd you think of that?
No, it was a great start right off the rip. Everybody wants the dragons. We waited way too long in Game of Thrones for the dragons. We didn't have to wait any time for this one. Loved it.
I had goosebumps that scene. Even my cold, dead Game of Thrones heart, within 5 minutes, this episode gave me goosebumps. So tip of the cap to them. We go into King's Landing. We meet the king and the queen. She goes and visits both of them. The mom gives that kind of dialogue about how the birth bed is our battlefield, and she gives a classic, oh, I want to be a knight. I don't want to give birth. Arya Stark 2.0. Yeah, any thoughts on those side characters? What do we think of the king and the queen so far? What do we think of the whole King's Landing setup?
I like the King's Landing setup. I think the casting was done pretty well. They don't really talk, I don't think, about the relationship between Viserys and I forget the mom's name actually, because it's pretty obvious the mom's also a Targaryen, and we know they like the incest. Yeah. So, like, is that a cousin? Is that a what? Like, what's going on there? They really just don't address it. And then she's like, yeah, a little later on, she's like, I've had 5 babies that have not been born that we've tried. Like, maybe something's a little wrong there. Something's a little off.
There's a correlation there, Targaryen family. I was the same way. Like, I'm watching all these scenes, and the underlying theme for me is like they are all probably related in some point. If there's one thing the Targaryens love, it's incest. That's one of the few things I remember from the lore.
So we got dragons, we got incest so far. I
just thought it was hilarious. We had the King Viserys. He's got like a dark 5 o'clock shadow, like he just got off his 9 to 5 and went to the bar after, and he's got this bright blonde flow to go along with that dark shadow. And then we also got the black guy who's apparently a Targaryen with his fucking blonde dreads. Like, this Targaryen family tree extends a lot deeper than I had initially realized.
So I forget the black guy's name. He is by marriage, though, I believe, because he's married to Rhaenyra, who's the older aunt who got snubbed, the queen who never was. Yeah, so I believe he's in through marriage with her, and they have kids. So those kids are Targaryens. But
I don't know. This whole Targaryen family tree is just fucked up in every sense of the word. Then we move on. We got Daemon. We meet him for the first time, who for me immediately is the only character I'm rooting for so far. We have him sitting on the Iron Throne, and Mir, you talk about incest and dragons. That might as well be the fucking motto of Game of Thrones. Some weird incest vibes in this scene between the uncle and the niece. Maybe I was the only one who got that, but Rhaenyra and Daemon, there's something going on subtextually there that's making me uncomfortable as a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah.
You agree? Okay.
I agree. I'm
glad we got the same vibe there. He hung the necklace on her in the throne room. And then they had that scene at the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we had the mom and the dad in the bath, where it kind of foreshadows that something's going wrong with his birth. He's like, I feel it's a son. She's like, oh my God, this pregnancy sucks ass. Yeah, maybe incest has something to do with that.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I saw him being born wearing a crown," and she's just like, "Fuck no, you didn't."
Wait, time out. I'm looking at the character guide for the show. How many people died in the first episode? I'm
Oh,
seeing
there's
1, 2, 3,
decent
4,
amount.
5, 6, 7, 8 people that say deceased.
there's probably a lot more like extras from the Night's Watch roundup scene that don't
I
even
think-
have names.
Right. I think for me, they tried to draw too many parallels to the Game of Thrones season opener, which like that was a perfect opener for me. You had the White Walkers questions, you had fucking the whole King's Landing entourage pulling up to Winterfell. That you had, they're arguing about if this tournament for the hand is too expensive. Both shows did that.
Mhm.
I thought Game of Thrones is a perfect opener. I thought House of Dragons kind of try to emulate it too much, and that's what I don't want this show to do, is try to be Game of Thrones 2.0. I want to see something wholly separate.
Yeah. They did give us a lot, though, with,
Right.
I mean, we'll get into it chronologically, but with the passing of the Queen.
But going back to your point about the deaths, I felt like they came out a little too heavy with that in episode 1. Like, I didn't even give a fuck about that Queen before they killed her off.
Yeah. So lots of deaths, incest, and dragons.
Game of fucking Thrones, baby.
Are you not
And-
entertained yet, Fab? How are you not watching this?
And
I have one question. Do the dragons breathe fire?
yeah,
Dracarys.
Dracarys. Jinx!
There we go. That's the
We'll talk
command
about-
the Targaryens say to make
We'll
them
talk
breathe fire.
Dracarys in a bit. We'll talk Dracarys in the bit because that was a one point of the episode which I loved. But I feel like a recurring theme that we keep talking about, and I feel like a recurring theme of this discussion is I keep saying recurring theme, but regardless, like we were all like, oh like there were some specific moments where we're all like, oh shit, this is Game of Thrones. We're back in the Thrones universe. This is incest. This is graphic. This is violence. This is dragons. This is Succession. I thought they did a good job of kind of nailing on those themes consistently. And going off that, after the mom and dad take a bath together, we get to Daemon in the Night's Watch. Daemon gives a nice little rallying speech. We really get to know Daemon as a character. He's a little hot-headed. He loves to wield his sword, both his metal sword and his prophylactic sword, his penis. But he gives that the Night's Watch or the City Watch, whatever they're called, a nice little hype-up speech. They go out and they apparently are cracking down on the criminals in the city. Literally up to this point in the episode, I'm thinking like, oh, this is not as graphic as Game of Thrones was. This is like a little less toned down on the violence. And immediately after that, it went steeply downhill. There was like 3 very violent and graphic scenes in quick succession, starting with the City Watch chopping off a guy's dick. And he did not just...
They throw that fart in, too.
It was not just like chopping off his dick from an off-camera angle. They sliced that shit and then they zoomed in on it afterward. They brought that shit into focus. They wanted you to specifically note this decapitated dick flesh. And that's for me when I was like, oh shit, we're back in Game of Thrones. Like, they are not cutting any corners in terms of the violence.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the Night's Watch reestablishing the city, Mir?
I think it's just like kind of more of like a plot thing to make Daemon seem more like out of control or whatever. I really think they're setting Daemon up to seem like this big bad guy when he's kind of pussy in reality. And I think they did a good job setting that up, especially with this scene. Like, oh, I have absolute power. It's really, you're just in charge of 200 drunk dudes that get to enforce like against rapists.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I think that's a great point. That I think that's a parallel between Daemon and Viserys, where Viserys is maybe not a great king, but he is a nice guy. He does care. Yeah. Like, Daemon gets scalded out at the council meeting after that for being too violent. And that's something we never would have seen in Game of Thrones, being scalded for being too violent. So now that you mentioned that, I think it's a great parallel between the two characters, and I think that's something we're definitely going to see clash going forward, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, he gets chewed out from the council and from King Viserys for being too violent. And then we move into the tournament. And this was a great, like, we're in Westeros. We're watching these guys joust. It's graphic. It's violent. Guys are getting chopped to shit. Guys are dying. They're giving favors to the princesses in the stands. The tournament scene was great. Any thoughts on it?
I just thought it was. I saw a tweet that compared the tournament from like the first season of Game of Thrones to this one, and it's like the Game of Thrones one. They're sitting on like a wooden little stand, like literally looks like it's built out of logs. It's like one shitty lane for the jousting, and this one they have like a full packed arena. It's so sick. It's so set up. It just shows like Targaryens did it right, and this scene was dope.
Yeah, that's another great parallel you bring up, Mir. Like, I feel like the Targaryen regime that is currently in its heyday, everything seems like so well established and so like, I guess, in better shape. And then in the current, well, not current, I don't even know what to call it. In the Game of Thrones universe, it's a king who usurped the throne from the Targaryens, and everything is a little more chaotic and a little more disorganized.
Yeah, 100%.
And then we get the tournament and we go to another part where you're like, holy shit, this is Game of Thrones. But even for a Game of Thrones fan, this was a lot. We got to see a live medieval C-section occur in front of us. And
I skipped it.
You skipped it? Yeah, smart choice.
Yeah, I had to.
That's where I was like, there is only one fucking point. There's only one fucking show or universe on television that can give us this. It's literally a fucking montage between knights chopping each other to fucking pieces and a live medieval C-section happening in front of us. So if you had live medieval C-section on your new Game of Thrones show bingo card, congrats on winning tonight. That was disturbing. They had like aerial drone shots of the baby being cut out of him. It was a lot, even for any Game of Thrones fan.
Yeah, it was. I saw just like the first flash of it. I'm like, yep, fast forward. I just had to.
Good move. We talk about the parallels to the first episode of Game of Thrones itself. I feel like those were two scenes that kind of established themselves like, oh, this show is fucked up. We had the live C-section in House of the Dragon, and then we had the twin cest in Game of Thrones. That for me where I was like, oh, this show is fucked up. But anyway, moving on. The mom died after the C-section, and they immediately move on to some succession meetings about who should take the throne. They have those meetings, and it's seemingly broad daylight, like a very open chamber. This is probably something that should be top secret. Yep, but Daemon gets word of it. Daemon is like cracking jokes. He called the baby that died the heir for a day. By the way, the mom gave birth to a son who immediately died after. He calls him the heir for a day. Daemon gets scalded for that. They have a meeting about the next succession, who's coming up next. Dumb to have that meeting in broad daylight, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, you should not be having this type of discussion. Like no guards or anything around. Like, Daemon was literally just like on the other side of some whatever the fuck that was. Like he was hiding in the closet.
Right. I get bad vibes from this Hightower character and his family.
Oh, super bad vibes. I think he's going to be, it's just like everything coming out of him, how much he wants Daemon gone and out of there, and like how much he wanted Daemon not to be the heir. He's making his daughter wear his dead wife's clothing and go try to sleep with his boss. Like, what's going on?
I have that next. But yeah, he strikes me as kind of a less intelligent Littlefinger, where he's trying to pull the strings and trying to be this kind of catalyst to break up the Targaryens, but I don't know if he has the chops or the metal for it yet.
Yeah.
And also his name is fucking Otto. Like, how absurd is that to have a name in the game? You got Viserys, Rhaenyra, Margaery, Stervera, and then you just got fucking Otto. That name kind of stuck out to me.
I would just think of Otto Porter every time I heard that guy's name.
Right, that's all I think of too. Good contribution, Fab. Happy to have you aboard for this segment.
My pleasure.
But anyways, Mir brought it up. After that scene, we have the lady Alice. What's her name? Alistone?
Aliston, yeah.
Aliston Hightower. She's the daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The dad kind of sends her into the king's chambers like lamb to the slaughter. She's apparently supposed to try to comfort him despite the seemingly 40 to 50 year age difference. I don't even know if this girl is of legal age yet. But it seemed like that was kind of setting something up. It seemed like maybe those two have a forced or arranged marriage to try to unite the Seven Realms. Very weird vibes from that scene.
Super weird vibes, but it just goes along with everything in Game of Thrones. I mean, We were waiting for something like that, like just underhanded but weird as fuck, and we got it right away.
And finally, we wrap up the episode. Rhaenyra is named the heir. King Viserys decides, fuck Daemon, fuck the chance of having another son. You're my heir. We're going to groom you as my heir. And this is where the episode truly lost me in terms of I don't want to hear this shit brought up again. I don't want to hear anything about the White Walkers of the Long Winter. I already know how the White Walkers end. I know how the Long Winter ends. I know how that whole shindig goes down. I don't want to hear you fucking talk about it on this show. I don't want to be reminded of how that whole season ended.
Yeah, but there was also we got the Long Winter in Game of Thrones, but they also talked about like the Long Winter like years before. And they said that lasted like a very long time and stuff. I don't know all the lore with this, but that could be something we see like still play a part, is like not the first, but the Long Winter that came before the Long Winter we know. I agree. I don't want them to go back into that White Walker well if they don't need to. But hey, they were never defeated. The winter ended and they went back, and then we saw them defeated later on. So maybe the White Walkers come in and just absolutely fuck shit up at one point.
You think there's two separate Long Winters in Game of Thrones lore? Is that your prediction?
I'm pretty sure they say like it's happened before, like in when we were in Game of Thrones on House of the Dragon. I'm pretty sure they talked about how there was like a previous Long Winter, and that there's something with like how long the winter is how many years in between there will be till the next one, and that's how they knew the Long Winter was like coming in Game of Thrones, was because they've like, all right, it's been a couple hundred years. And the last one was like the actual Long Winter. I think I'm going to look that up.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not a lore guy at all. Like, I've seen the shows. I tried to read the books. I'm not a lore guy.
The last summer was 7 years. So the winter was known to last a generation. So yeah, why Westeros has such long winters. Whole article in it we can get into in some point.
A whole generation of winter. I would never want to live there.
And the whole time in the winter are zombies.
What? So, there's zombies too?
The White Walkers.
Okay. Oh yeah. This is kind of drawing my intrigue here a little bit. Zombies and dragons.
Zombies, dragons, lots of different factions, tons of war.
Is this like breaking news to you, Fab, that Game of Thrones has dragons and zombies? Because I thought that was common knowledge.
No, I knew they had dragons. I just don't know. Like, is there like tons of dragons, or there's only a few?
So in House of the Dragon, there's 10, I believe. They said that in the beginning they were like the Targaryens at the height of their power with 10 dragons under their command. In Game of Thrones, at that point, all the dragons were killed and like the Targaryens were dethroned. But then the queen, Khaleesi, the Emilia Clarke, you probably saw her all the time when Game of Thrones was on, the blonde chick. She like was like the next Targaryen, and she had 3 dragon eggs that all hatched. So she had 3 dragons. And then one died or whatever. But so there were like 10 dragons, then none, and then 3.
So are there good dragons and bad dragons?
They're all under the control of the Targaryens. But in Game of Thrones, no spoilers. Let's say the zombies do zombie things to one of the dragons, and he's no longer.
Okay. Yeah, I was not aware of the zombie aspect whatsoever.
Oh yeah. Honestly, one of the best battles I've ever seen. Yeah, it goes nowhere. They ruin it, but the episode they ruin it comes to conclusions called The Long Night, and it's like this whole battle, and it's all against the zombies. And I thought a lot of people hated on it. I fucking loved The Long Night fight at Winterfell.
Yeah, I gotta look up these. What are they called? White Walkers?
White Walkers, yeah.
I want to see what these things look like. The dragons look pretty cool. I'm looking at like the index. The dragon index.
The dragons are badass and they look cool. They're not like pussy dragons, yeah.
Oh, these guys, okay.
Yeah, they fuck shit up. The White Walkers, yeah. There's like main army of just like everyone the White Walkers kill, they could turn into more White Walkers, but there's like a commando unit of super powerful ones that like control them all.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, these guys are pretty
that
cool.
Scene
Like
in
ice
Thrones,
zombies.
that scene in Thrones where they turned the dragon into a White Walker was literally like the biggest oh shit for me. Like even bigger than the Red Wedding.
I was like sad. I was like, oh shit, and sad because we were so invested in the show at that point. You're like, we lost one of the dragons. Like, are we fucked? Like,
all right, Fab. Any lingering questions in the Game of Thrones universe, or
No, that's really. I just had those questions about the dragons. I was very curious. So do they all breathe fire, right? Is that what we clarified that, or only some of them?
no, they all breathe fire.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And how do they? Are the dragons like bonded to like the good guys, or do the dragons ever go rogue? Like, how do you control a dragon?
You like if you're a Targaryen, like part of this family, the dragons listen to you. The House of the Dragon is what they're called, and it seems like every Targaryen pretty much or at least like meaningful Targaryen has their own dragon that they're like bonded with.
Even in this new show, House of the Dragon, the king himself said it is our biggest folly to think that we can control the dragons. It was our biggest mistake to bring them into the fold. So maybe that comes back to bite them in the ass.
Okay.
Ooh.
Have we talked enough Thrones, or do we have more?
I think we might have convinced Fab to at least watch an episode of House of the Dragon.
I'm never gonna hold my breath on convincing Fab to watch anything. I don't like what.
I downloaded Minecraft. Let's compromise here. I still don't know how to make a pickaxe. You can watch some HBO.
How long is each episode of House of the Dragon?
Oh, they're like an hour.
About 50% of our usual podcasting time. So
okay, that's not too bad. If it was
slice that out of your week.
All right, I'll say this. I'll strongly consider. I will go to HBO and I will hover over House of the Dragon, and maybe click play. I'm going to
send you some links of like battles from Game of Thrones and get you hooked.
Okay, that might actually get me because I do. Dragons are fucking sick. So
yeah,
if I can see some like cool ass dragon like fights and stuff, that might convince me.
Plenty of those.
A lot of dragons.
All right, time for our final.
Fab. So you're a fan of dragons?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like me dragging these nuts across your face?
I knew that was coming before you even started saying it.
But are you a fan of 2016 NBA Draft 4th overall pick Dragon Bender? I actually don't know if that's right at all. I just guessed on the year.
That is 100% right.
I know he was 4th overall, but I don't know if
2016 is right.
2016. Let's go.
And
Trivia Tuesday coming in clutch.
Mir just earned his salary and benefits back with that.
Let's go.
Mir knows ball.
We got our final subject.
Time out. Speaking of Mir, anything you want to comment on in your professional life? I hear you might be making more of a content-centric move. Do you want to brag real quick?
Yeah, so I'm still doing my normal job, but moving way more into content and production.
As you should.
We're kind of crazy. We're looking at getting me like an assistant because I'm becoming that busy, which is nuts. Thinking this fucking guy's gonna have an assistant. What the fuck? But
we got a Rick and Fab No Ball intern.
Yeah, right.
Else's payroll.
But this is dropping Wednesday, so tomorrow, Thursday, I think is going to be the live debut of I'm doing a daily show. It's like a 3 to 5 minute thing every day, just talking about what's going on in the hobby and stuff. But I'm also on the chase Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to like 10:30, which has been really fun doing that. NFL season coming up, we got a lot of shit planned, but it's fun. I started in content at this job immediately, like hightailed it out when I had a chance to take a promotion and was on like the back end of things doing social media production. But now we're getting back into content. Feels good.
I watched was the live stream the other night. That was the chase, right? I know it was the guys from the
Chase. It was like the chase technically, but like David Adams in general. Yeah,
special edition. Yeah. That I watched MereKat on that stream. What's the word? What's the fancy word for ripping cards, breaking. Yeah, that was. I know nothing about cards, but that stream was so electric. Like we were all fired up in the chat, going nuts.
MereKat was wild.
Pulling, MereKat was pulling insane cards.
I'm the opposite of a Twitch guy or a trading cards guy, but I was in the Twitch chat like, let's chant MereKat.
Yeah,
MereKat.
You guys were hype. That was awesome. Like so cool.
Bananas.
Yeah, you guys delivered. And we need a MereKat Nation helping out.
not a whole lot of guys that deserve that type of success more than our guy Mere here. So
Couldn't agree more.
just always so glad to see that. I'm trying to emulate
you,
that in
boys.
my own current part-time job.
Big things, though.
Yeah, just
It's
live,
a big step.
just live tweeted Joey Chestnut at a AAA baseball game breaking a popcorn record. So that's what's going on in my professional life.
I love it.
What segment we got next, boys?
Our final segment, Mailbag. We're gonna have a decent time show today. By decent, I mean under 2 hours.
Yeah, definitely under 2 hours.
It's not a thick mailbag. I'm a little disappointed in the ball gazers, not gonna lie, but shout out to everyone who contributed this week.
Yep.
I did shoot it out day of recording, like with little to no, like without letting you guys know or anything too. So we barely promoted it. So not your guys' fault, but come on, ball gazers.
Yeah, come on, ball gazers. We need. Usually we can't even include all of them. We have to pick and choose like the best ones. But we know you guys will get back to it next week.
All right, first up is for you boys. What records would the Bears and the Pats have if the quarterback situation was flipped? From our good friend Sloan Kettering.
I have some thoughts.
You want to go first?
You put Mac Jones behind the Bears O-line and have him learn under Matt Nagy his first year. I think Mac Jones is permanently broken, and I think they go 0-16, which speaks to the mental fortitude that Justin Fields has. And even this year, I think you put Mac Jones behind probably the shittiest offensive line in football, he's not going to succeed. And that's not a knock against Mac Jones. That's just the honest truth of what kind of quarterback Mac Jones is. He needs time in the pocket. He needs to make his reads, and he needs that quick delivery, those short, quick hitters, those sit and wait for a deep ball that you had set up before that. Mac Jones is a guy that I think doesn't really rely on scheme, but his scheme really helps him out a lot. And that's something that, to say the least, has never been a strong suit of the Chicago Bears. So I think Justin Fields is running for his life. As I said this preseason, as I said last season, as I said going into this season, Justin Fields is going to be running for his life. Not a strong suit of the old Mac attack. So I think Mac goes 0-16 on the Bears, and that's more of an indictment against the Bears rather than Mac Jones himself. Would you say that's fair, Fab?
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Justin Fields on the Patriots, rather. I
think I mocked this pick in my mock.
I'm conflicted on it because, I love Justin learning under Belichick. I love that situation for him, but I don't know if they're achieving much past what Mac Jones had them achieve. I think that's kind of just a good landing spot for a rookie. I think they scheme around their quarterback strengths. I think the Patriots are just such a good organization. They would figure it out regardless of who the QB and his skill set is. And I think the Bears just aren't competent enough to do that. So maybe it's just my trust in the Patriots organization. Fab, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think it kind of would have made more sense with Fields filling in right after Cam Newton. They would have been. You could run the same offense as you ran with Cam Newton, obviously, because Fields can run. I don't know if we definitely. It's not like we would have beat the Bills last year if we had Justin Fields. I think it would be a similar season. Maybe win 1 or 2 more games, but just because of Fields' mobility. But yeah, Mac Jones in Chicago with that line and those receivers, that would just he definitely wouldn't have made it the season. He would have gotten destroyed within the first few games just because of everything Rick said. That would be really ugly. And it's usually mostly for first year quarterbacks outside of guys like Herbert or Mahomes who go crazy. You're pretty much a product of your surroundings and your coaching staff. So this question will be, I feel a lot easier to answer in a couple of years when we know more about them. But just judging from the first season, Justin Fields in New England would have light years more success than Mac Jones would have in Chicago. 100%.
I think it just kind of speaks to Chicago being the absolute last place you want to land as a quarterback. And that has transcended coaches, that's transcended offensive coordinators, that's transcended general managers. The one spot it hasn't transcended is the owners, the fucking McCaskey family. Something's got to change if we're going to figure it out as the Chicago Bears, and it might not happen in my lifetime. So that's really fun. What's the next mailbag question?
All right, I'm not going to lie. I don't really know what's going on with Hawaii football that much, but from our boy, Cocaine Jesus, with all the turnover and questions of why, how does one survive a grueling college football betting season, knowing their late-night salvation is at best a coin flip this year? So isn't Hawaii always kind of just like mid? Like kind of usually a coin flip? Or is this referring to there was news today that Hawaii games outside their opener will not be broadcasted on the mainland. We're going to have to illegally stream that.
Yeah, I would just say Stream East is a very, very nice tool to use. So you can catch every single one of Hawaii game or any game you could possibly think of for the most part on many websites, but Stream East is the go-to. So I would recommend that. I feel. Oh, go ahead. Actually,
no, continue.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like Hawaii hasn't, because I remember like growing up when I was like way younger, Hawaii was always like, I guess this was back when they had like Mariota, and before that they were always, I feel like, a high power offense scoring like 70 points.
So
at, like, 1 in the morning.
Mariota actually went to Oregon and played in a national championship.
Oh, who the fuck am I thinking of? He's Hawaiian though, isn't he?
Yeah, he
is Hawaiian. They had one legendary quarterback in their time. Let me Google it. And the guy died, so like I hate forgetting his name. But
we're going to Colt Brennan. Colt Brennan. That dude was fucking nuts. That's who you're thinking of. Yeah.
He died?
Did he?
Am I just yeah, he died.
R.I.P. Colt Brennan died. He was a Heisman Trophy finalist for Hawaii. Jeez,
why did I
crazy.
think Marcus Mariota went to Hawaii? Is Tua Hawaiian too?
He might be they're either Hawaiian. I don't know. I don't want to.
Dude, Colt Brennan died of a fentanyl overdose, bro. That's so
that
bad.
stinks. That stinks. R.I.P. Colt Brennan.
No, that guy was a fucking legend. He was always slinging points on the board. He was always like, he's kind of the guy who birthed like the Hawaii late night Pac-12 after dark movement. Like,
yeah, that's what I was
Hawaii
thinking
fun and entertaining, and like who was putting up all the points for them. Damn, I did not mean for the pod to take that dark.
He had a 58 touchdown season for Hawaii in 14 games. That's fucking nuts.
That is unheard of.
Nuts.
What?
Yeah, so Fab, you bring up like the streamiest thing, like, dude, he set the NCAA record for touchdown passes in a single season. 58 touchdown passes. I didn't even include rushing. Yeah, it held until Joe Burrow broke it in LSU.
Crazy.
That's
crazy. Crazy sad too, but damn.
Yeah,
Fab. Trying to segue from that, like you brought up, like there's a billion ways to stream college football. My only exposure to the Hawaii football program these days is when I had a terrible Saturday betting college football, and I think the Hawaii over is going to bail me out, so I pulled that up on Streamy. So I don't think it's affecting too many Gen Z or millennial viewers in this day and age, because there's always a way to find the stream the game. So I think the Hawaii late night bailout is alive and well, unlike Colt Brennan. I'm sorry.
Oh my
Jesus Christ. All right, next question. Wait, this is the same question. Okay, we're off the rails. We're off the rails.
Cole, RIP for real. Like, great dude from what I can tell. But come on, guys, that was a great job.
That was good transition. Good podcast in there. All right. Next, from Midwestern Uncle, our boy Pastrami Boy, who is more to play. We haven't talked enough KD the past 8 episodes.
This is kind of the crux of our debate earlier, though.
Yeah,
Who's more to blame? KD, the Nets, or Danny Ainge? Like, we had literally just talked about this. So shout out to Midwestern Uncle for throwing another fucking coal on the fire. What do you guys think?
Danny. Hashtag blame Danny.
Blame
Trader Danny.
I guess we're 3-0 here. Danny Ainge froze the entire trade market when he bent the Minnesota Timberwolves over. You look at that and you say, they got that for Rudy Gobert. I'm not taking anything similar for a player who's not even on Rudy Gobert's wavelengths.
It's gonna be even worse when he gets even more for Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, we'll see how much the Knicks are willing to give up. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's not going to be pretty. Nasty business for anybody willing to give up really anything for Donovan Mitchell. But someone's going to do it.
What was that
Shout
hand
out Danny
for?
Ainge.
What?
I thought you were just raising your hand. You went like this with your phone out. You were getting breaking news or something.
Rick, do you really want me to say it?
Say it.
Every episode, I give a little Easter egg to my girlfriend where I wave to her.
That's awesome.
That's adorable.
Shout out to your girlfriend. What did she call me? The secret weapon of
the
podcasting?
secret weapon.
Yeah, I love it.
That was a look of pure mischief on Rick's face right there.
Yeah.
Not mischief, just the boys are gonna roast me for this one. But shout out to my girl, my rock. Tunes into every episode. Our number one supporter.
Rick.
Shout out Mrs. Rick. All right. From our boy, huge cracker, Johnny Dang, family.
Johnny Dang.
Just need a think piece on why LeBron is greater than MJ. I mean, we could talk about it. I don't know. We're gonna go think piece right now, but
is this him thinking that MJ's better and he wants us to defend LeBron? He seems like
phrased, this guy's an enigma. Enigma. I never know.
He really seems like an MJ guy. Like, I feel like he's definitely full team MJ. But I mean, it's hard to justify your stance on this, just because this is such a big argument that no matter what you say, the other side has something in the holster ready to go to counter it. I feel like if you just use your eyeballs, like, there's nobody better than LeBron, and it's really as simple as that.
I agree. Eyeball test is all I need. I'm not going to give you a think piece family / Johnny Dang / whatever.
Yeah, I'm firmly LeBron better than Michael Jordan at this point. I hate LeBron so much. And I'm sure I would have loved Michael Jordan, degenerate gambler, all the bullshit he pulled, all that stuff back in the day. Toon Squad, OG, like, gotta love that. Everything LeBron does, every move he does makes me hate him more and more. I actually saw a LeBron coloring book on the timeline recently that made me physically ill. It's like a coloring book for children. It's just LeBron, like, chiseled as fuck making tacos on Taco Tuesday. Like,
that's fucking hilarious.
What is going on here? But yeah, on the court, you can't deny what you see. He's a freak.
Yeah, he's also one of the most just unintentionally hilarious people ever. Because, like, it's definitely so easy to hate him.
Willie Waldo.
Dude, that post, that was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. And the fact that he posted it would just made it so much funnier.
He's at the front of the picture with nobody blocking him or anything. He's taller than everybody. Clearly LeBron James. He's like, Willie Waldo, where am I?
Waldo.
Mickey Mouse
so
ass.
Funny. All right, yeah. So I think that was a firm stance on LeBron.
Yeah, all three of us. And we got one more question. We're going to turn this into a contest. There's no prize. One of you is just the winner. One is the loser. I'm going to be the judge. I have the answer, actually. How many lumps are there on a basketball? From Skanks, I'm assuming by lumps he means like the bumps. That's what we're going to go with, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure didn't Hey Arnold do this in an episode? It was like, or that was something he did in the show. I don't know why I'm remembering that. Like, he would count the balls in a basketball or the lumps.
The only Hey Arnold I remember is when they cooked the giant pizza.
I do remember that. Let's see. There's probably like 8 different like panels, right?
Think how tiny those bumps are.
I think if Skanks is worried about lumps on his balls, he might need to go see a doctor.
We're medical professionals.
800. I'm going 800.
Rick?
799.
With the, what is that, Price is Right strategy? You went the wrong way, brother. Both of you are so far off. It's approximately 35,000.
What?
What?
35,000?
Yeah. They're called pebbles. And there's 122 of them per square inch. Well, that does not feel right. How many pebbles on a basketball? Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had a basketball in my room.
35,000 dots. Also called pebbles, also called dimples, also called bumps. 35. That's 2 different sources.
That's crazy.
That's a lot of lumps on a balls.
Yeah.
That's only an outdoor. Actually, no, I guess the indoor balls have them too. Just more pronounced on the outdoor balls.
Yeah.
All right, so there you have it. What is it?
Goddamn.
35,000?
35,000. What did you say? 807.99.
Yeah.
Little far off there.
Well,
And we did have
a little off.
one more question from YT. Look at YT. You get your own banner because I had to remind myself about it with a banner. We're not going to answer this right now, YT. We're going to use this for a starting 5 at some point because we've been looking for a good starting 5. This is loaded. This takes some time to go through.
I love the idea.
It's a great idea. For those listening, if Tim Tebow were building a starting 5 of the most athletic religious extremists who would be on the team in what positions, Tebow could either be the coach or one of the 5 on the floor, but he likes him at the point guard.
That's a good question, YT.
Yeah.
I tried to think of like who I would choose for this, and I couldn't think of anybody off the top of the head. So this is definitely going to require some deep digging to fill out a full starting 5. But I do love that template.
Yeah, that's a good one. We needed a good
Love
next starting 5. All right, does that wrap us up?
I think we're wrapping up.
Shortest episode.
Are we actually?
history?
Is this the shortest episode? Yeah.
No, we went over this last time. We had an hour and a half episode, and we found out there was
that's right.
a 50-minute episode.
That's right.
So we had an hour 40 in episode 11, and then hour 35 in episode 2, and 49 minutes episode 4. I don't remember what happened in episode 4.
I can't remember. I can remember like small parts, but I don't remember any of the episodes.
Yeah, no.
This is 13, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can do this
13, yeah.
live. I can do this live right now. The Red Sox are officially dead. I'm burying them right now.
Are you telling me the Jimmy Fund's not going to get a whopping $100 tonight?
Dude, I want him delivered via helicopter to an active volcano and just dropped in. That's what he deserves.
It's like the NFL. Oh, we're gonna donate, the $5 million from Deshaun's salary to rape victims. It's like, dude, $5 million to you is literally like $5 to us. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Anyone who didn't see that, the Red Sox GM just said today that he was going to donate $100 per Red Sox win, which makes it even funnier because they're not winning.
Yeah.
So like each time the Red Sox win, so maybe like 1 or 2 times the rest of the year, he's going to donate $100 to the Jimmy Fund. What an absolute guy Chaim Bloom is.
Love it.
That guy stinks. But yeah, Red Sox are dead.
Are you messing with the layout? Is this you, Rick?
Is it me? I don't think so.
I keep getting bigger.
Somebody keeps making fat bigger, and it's not me. All right.
Fuck.
You gonna close us out there, Rick? You seem a little flustered.
It's freaking fat.
You need vape. You need nicotine.
Dude, it's the Nick withdrawals, yeah. Yeah, it's freaking Fab No Ball, episode 13. We're done. We're out. Another great episode from the fellas. Closing thoughts. What do we have?
Minecraft's back. I'm going to play Minecraft after this. So if you're listening to this and you don't have Minecraft, you should download it.
Minecraft's so back. I died within 20 seconds of playing, but it's so back.
Oh, closing thoughts. Yeah, love you guys as always. Appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, Mere.
Love you guys. Keep liking, subscribing, rating, whatever. You know the deal. You know the deal. Help us. We love you.
Mm-hmm. 5-star download, thumbs up.
Yeah, this has been episode 13. Love you guys.
Hey, it's Rick and Fab. Huh? It's Rick and Fab. What? It's Rick and Fab. It's Rick and Fab breaking balls. Takes me off the walls. Talking all that shit that make you wanna get involved. Ain't no ball. Rick and Fab, no ball. Look, when you wanna talk ball, tell me who you call. I know it's Rick and Fab got it all, they no ball. Look, Rick and Fab, no ball. Yeah.